Hi, I'm John Evans from Kalido. I'm here today with Ralph Hughes. Ralph is Chief Systems Architect at Ceregenics, a consulting organization focused on agile data warehousing. Ralph, welcome to our Expert View series.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Ralph, I wanted to talk today about agility. That's a hot topic in the information management space. So I wanted to ask you, what comes to mind when you hear the words business and agility together?
Well, I think that agile has become a word like quality. It's an absolute essential to success. Without quality goods and services, you can't build a reliable customer base. Without agility, you can't evolve your information and production systems in order to take advantage of a new revenue opportunity or to mitigate a threat to your cost structure or your competitive place in the marketplace. So you have to have agility to move ahead and thrive in the marketplace. As someone who works very closely with business customers to design and manage the delivery of business intelligence systems, I realized a long time ago that our customers can no longer wait the 12 to 18 months that information technology departments used to make them wait for a new data mart. When I hear business and agile together, it makes me realize that we need to provide new capabilities, new insights into your operational data within that 2 to 8 week time frame, or otherwise your business is not going to be able to thrive, because many of the competitors are agile with their business intelligence. They're moving that fast.
Now, Ralph, you're well known for your work in agile data warehousing. You're a faculty member of the Data Warehouse Institute, and I know you wrote the first book on agile data warehousing. So how do you define agile data warehousing, and why is it important?
Well, a lot of people have really simple one-liner explanations of what agile is, and I think it's like involving your customer in the immediate process of creating new code. But I think to really understand it, you need a composite definition to it. It's not just having stand-up meetings in the morning or telling your developers to work with just-in-time requirements. It's not a one-time fix. This is going to be a learning process. And I think more importantly, it's a race against unknowns. You've been asked to expand your data warehouse, and it's a burning business question that has to be done. Yet I've worked in environments that had 250 source systems. You have to be able to figure out which of those systems have quality data and how you're going to blend it together and make it intelligible and actionable in a very short time frame. And that's the last component. You're in a race against time. So when people ask me what agile data warehousing is, I've got to give this 4-part answer, which it's a sizable collection of attitudes and techniques that lets your team get steadily better at delivering increments of real crucial information capabilities in a time frame that your business sponsors can value.
Yeah, that matches with a lot of things that we're seeing from customers as well when they're talking about problems that they're having and how do they approach agility. Now, given that, what do you think is the one thing that people most often overlook when it comes to delivering agility?
Well, if I reflect upon the agile teams that we've been asked to come in and coach and the projects that we've been asked to turn around, I think about what it was that took them into the ditch in the first place. The common theme that I see is that the agile methods, they look simple on paper, and unfortunately they lull teams and project management groups into taking a simplistic approach to the applications they're trying to build. Data warehouses, data marts, operational data stores, all these things are really complex animals. They have a lot of moving pieces. We can't do anything about that. We can't take a simplistic approach. So instead, you can't just hire a scrum master, put them in the project room, and tell your developers to go off to the races. Instead, I think you need 2 things to really achieve a high-performance agile data warehousing team. I think you need a good solutions architectural approach, and I think you need a good set of tools. Now, on the solutions architecture approach, I think you need to get a solutions architect to work with the project team and stay with the team. That's got to be somebody who's built a lot of data warehouses in the past, but also someone who can understand the business problem from a business perspective and then sketch a solution to that problem that involves the technical components that we have in data warehousing. And not only sketch that design, but lay out a step-by-step approach to delivering it one piece at a time, where every piece is going to be something the business is going to value and benefit from. So they have to provide that incremental path, and then they need to stay with the team to provide guidance and leadership on issues of requirements and design. So that's the one component. The flip side, though, is that you got to have good teams for that, good tools for that team to work with. You know, if you ask them to build these complex applications with the old clunky tools of 10 years ago, they're going to end up trying to manage thousands of little pieces of data transformation logic. And every one of those little pieces has to be discreetly coded, it has to be quality assured, and then it has to be promoted by hand. If you're going to ask them to manage thousands of items like that, there's no way they're going to be able to keep up with the business and the changing questions that have to be answered. So what we have found at the better class of tools now is, you need to provide your teams with code generators. And the code generators key off an understanding of the data. And so if you give them the right tool, what your team can do is work very closely with the business to define the information that they have and the information that's got to be produced and the model that that data has to be placed inside. And so now you're in a position where your development team can iterate on data and not worry about the code. And that's what we try to get to, is a place where our teams are thinking about the structure that they're going to try to populate and the quality of information that goes in there, and they let the tool take care of the code. We want the code to take care of themselves. And the big advantage that we see with that is that if you give them clunky tools that make it very hard to build components, then it really scopes down the breadth of a business question that they can try to address. And what you end up with, you could have dozens of agile teams, but if they're all working on these small pieces, you end up with stovepipe solutions that don't integrate. They're all coming in at different grains, and the data exchanges between them become so complex that eventually the entire assembly is too hard to maintain or enhance, and it's easier just to start over. And I don't know what you've accomplished by pursuing that in an agile fashion. Instead, we want to let the teams focus on important business problems, not have them worry about the code, and then we can run multiple agile teams, and a data warehouse will emerge out of these independent, loosely coupled agile projects. That, I think, is the goal that we all should be striving for.
It's very sound advice indeed. Ralph, thanks very much for joining me here on the Kalido Expert View series, and thank you for tuning in.